Don Allen, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Deal. I'm Ty
Yep.
McGowan. I'm the design manager for the Northwest Treatment Plant project with Burns and McDonnell. Today we're going to talk about the admin building and aesthetics and site-wide aesthetics in general. So we've got exterior stuff, we've got interior stuff, and this is probably about the last that you're going to hear from me because I'm a process engineer. So luckily we've got folks from Schaefer, Johnson, Cox, and Fry who are working on the admin building, and we've also got some of the Burns and McDonnell architects, Ryan Lang and Ayla Malott, on the line as well. So Chad Voth, I believe, is going to kick it off for us. Correct, Chad? All right.
We may let Ryan may want to say a couple things.
Sure, have at it, guys.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, just a couple of words from the sky here. Basically, the plan all along has been to, let the admin building be the building that interacts with the public, and then kind of the rest of the plant kind of hides in plain sight behind. And so, with that, I'm going to hand it to Chad and Justin, and they're the architects of the admin building, and they'll kind of talk you through how we got the color on the exterior and interior, and I'll finish up with the balance of the plant that hides in plain sight after they're done.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. Chad Voth with Schaefer Johnson, Cox Fry Architecture. We also have Emma Cerdes from our office, Interior Design. You guys all know Justin. And then we also have Dakota, who's been helping with this project. First off, I'll just kind of kick it into gear. We'll be reviewing admin building, exterior, interior, and then also Ryan will go over the site-wide stuff. Starting with the exterior, we've kind of just real quick aerial overview, just showing the relationship between the admin building and the facility. Zoo Boulevard off to your right, Hoover Road in front there. This is kind of looking from that northwest direction. As we venture in, as you're coming up Zoo Boulevard, we've kind of arranged this so that the dynamic entrance in the front, more admin, public area, training area would be on this southwest corner. As we're coming up from Zoo Boulevard, you can see the railroad tracks, the entrance off of Zoo to kind of curve around Hoover there, giving you the nice dynamic approach for that elevation. As we're moving through, this would be a view coming from Hoover and 21st Street as you're passing through in the front heading south. Again, showing the relationship between that building and the facility beyond. I might also add there's basically three prominent sides to this, and even on the back side you can see, and I'll go back to this aerial. The back side, as you can see 21st Street off to the left, you will actually be able to see the back, the north side, front side, and even the facility side from all directions based on where you're coming from. And so taking that into consideration, upon entering, you'll see that we've got the front doors located there. We've kind of come into the entrance. This is going to the right, takes you through secured gates into the facility, into the lobby. We've used, you will see other slides, the blue, kind of behind that wood sunscreen treatment, there's a blue panel. We've really made this corner dynamic, popped it a little bit. It's the very inviting, very artistic entrance that we want to really express. Doing the sunshade device helps kind of create a space out there, and also using the wood tones helps warm it up a little bit. As we continue to walk around, this basically, as you approach from the parking lot, you can get a sense of the dynamic relationship between the facility units as well as this admin building and entrance, and picking up on that. Again, just showing the dynamic corner. As you can see here a little bit better that we've really popped this corner with the blue, and then the relationship between the rest of it being more of a darker gray, light gray roof, some gray brick on the front as well. Wanted to also show some pictures resulting from nighttime. We've added some lighting effects that kind of help bring some dynamic to it at various times. Again, this is from Zoo Boulevard. You can see we have light that will touch on that sunshade, really enhancing that artistic side of it. And working from the main entrance, again, nice lighting, really trying to kind of give the facility a little bit of life as nighttime hits. And you can start to see what's wrapping around the top edge of that is a continuous LED fixture. So it'd be a light that completely highlights that larger overhang, which also then helps with accentuating the sun shading device. Again, you can better see the light on that from this corner view. We've also looked at I'll go back here, looked at placing a sign, simple face lighting it. You know, we've kind of looked at, you could halo light it and various things, but using just a simple concrete form there that can help define that space as well as give it a nice arrival, knowing where you're going to be and that. Knowing that's the entrance, that's the highlighted dynamic area. And that is basically the exterior finishes in a nutshell. We can either move on to interior finishes, or we can address any questions dealing with this and then move into interior.
Well, maybe since you're up there, let's address
That works.
any exterior
Mhm.
questions.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, no, you go.
I just have one quick question on the lighting over the wood piece. Is that one color, or will there be an opportunity to change color? Not the LED static around the whole deal, just the piece over the wood.
Point, up in this area here,
Yeah,
we could explore that, yes. Currently, we were just showing it as a static white, more light. We could explore doing a color LED changing. You can change it based on seasons. Could look at it that way too. You know, maybe in Christmas time you're looking at a red, green hue or something like that. But we could definitely look at that.
okay. I just asked because sometimes the city hall will change the lights, like for Law Enforcement Week or something, and that being another city facility, we could match that throughout town.
Oh, sure. Very good point.
Good suggestion. I was gonna ask, is that wood treated? Is it stained, painted, exactly
I should
how will
elaborate.
that weather?
It is actually an extruded aluminum with a wood print to it.
Okay.
So it looks like wood, but it's actually aluminum.
Huh, okay.
And so, yeah, minimizing any kind of maintenance requirements.
And it's, maybe it goes back to a daytime picture. Is that the same material over the entry awning now?
That is correct.
Because we didn't have that entry awning before.
That is correct. That was added in as part of expanding the lobby into more of a museum piece that can
Yeah.
be used. So we pushed that vestibule out, and in doing so, we brought in this overhang feature. And yes, it is the same material, maybe just a different color. Just maybe it's a little darker than the other.
Right.
Give it a little bit of
Are
contrast.
there any back entrances that would have this type of awning as well? Or
No.
just on this front facing?
Just on the front face.
Okay. Because there is a back entrance, right, for
There,
employee?
there is. We do have, tell you what, I'll go to let me go to the interior finishes floor plan, and we can. The back entrances, you can see down sheet, that will be private for administrative offices. Off to the right, you can see there's actually 3 entrances, one for sample delivery, and then 2 off of each corridor, mainly for exiting or employee entrance that way. And those do not have any canopies or anything on them.
So just a quick question. I like everything you've shown us on the exterior. I think it's elegant, but it's simple too. That's good. I like the lighting at night. Give it a little bit of somebody knows what they're driving by, but not too much attention. Question is, and I don't know if this is on today's agenda or not, but is the landscaping. This is showing a lot of grass, but is there a landscaping plan that would indicate something about water conservation, native plants, that kind of thing, or
I would
is it
probably
irrigated fescue?
direct that to Bill better.
I might pipe in on that just for a second. So we're kind of waiting on the landscaping element because we've also got the artistic project, and we're getting ready to go out with the RFP for an artist, and we don't know exactly what they will want to put out there. And then we're also coordinating with a bike path that's going in out in front. So we're kind of waiting on the landscaping until we know a little bit more about those 2 things.
That makes total sense, and I'm sure you guys have already thought of this. I just, for me, that's what I see. I see irrigated fescue in front of a water building. So I think we've tried to do a few things like that in Derby with some, sort of, what do you call, conservation-based gardens that people love being able to, well, what can I do? Well, have you looked outside that building? And those plants are labeled, and not that you want a ton of people out here, but there's a lot you can do to show people, show gardeners what they can do besides irrigated fescue, and they like seeing it. They just like at the Extension Center, for example. Thank you.
Some of that kind of stuff coordinated with whatever the artist comes up with that.
Absolutely. No, that's great. That's great.
So since you mentioned artist, I mean, how much of this have they seen, the design council? I mean, that was really kind of the reasoning to get an artist involved, was not only for any art element, but the overall aesthetic design of the building, correct?
Correct. So they've seen the design of the building, but not the colors and textures.
But they will.
They've seen that look of the front.
Right, but they will be able to have input on that as well, correct? I mean, that's the whole reason. It's not just an art person, it's a design person and how it all dovetails together.
Right, for the rest of it, yes.
Okay, all right. And if you could go back to some daytime images, I just want to see what the materials are. I mean, you talked about the aluminum. What's the, is that stone, is that brick around the wainscoting?
Yeah, I'll get back to that front one and then I will.
Okay. And what are the blue made out of and so forth?
Sure. The blue, well, I'm gonna go back to this one. The blue is actually, I call it a standing seam, but it'd be more like a board and batten that you see on a house in a vertical essence, and it is a metal panel.
It's a metal panel?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the darker kind of charcoal, darker gray is also a metal panel, kind of fluted, so it gives a little bit of variation and not so flat. The gray wainscot there is a brick, so it would be more of a gray brick. The dark band you see would be more of using like a charcoal cast stone cap for the brick transition to metal.
And then as far as the windows go, are those going to be shaded? Are they tinted? Because that's the southwest corner. You're going to get a lot of heat coming in.
That's right. We do meet energy code specific requirements, so there will be a shading coefficient minimum we will have to meet, as well as any tinting in that.
From the exterior, can you see in, or will you be shaded so that you can't? You know what I mean by that?
Yes, I do, and I think you're going to have some shading that it's going to be minimal visibility inside to inside. It'll have some enough of a tint that it won't be as clear.
Okay.
And how high up would you say those windows are?
Those windows go to 10 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd have to be pretty tall to be able to look in.
Yeah, but I was thinking
Yeah.
more along the further south.
The doors?
I think it's a conference room.
Oh, these
The
full length.
training room that looks out into the facility has the same 10-foot high windows, yes.
Well,
But the windows start at the ground, right?
Oh, yes, and yes, they do.
Yeah.
And those are right at that front it's now the lobby space interior.
So were you thinking interior treatments over those windows, like?
We will have shades also,
Yeah.
roller shade, I believe roller shades, is that right? Emma will also address some of that.
Yeah. That'll be nice. So just to get back to the artist for just 1 second, you're saying an RFP's about ready to go, and I guess I got the impression from what you're saying, you're asking an artist to do something in the yard. So then you can landscape around it. It's not, the artist RFP is not asking them to change the building or do anything on the building. It's sort of a decorate out here in the yard. Is that fair?
Anything on the building. So there's 3 elements to the artist. The one's out along Zoo Boulevard.
Okay.
The other is in front of the building, and then the third element is that inside that lobby reception area. So inside those windows and doors right there.
Great.
There's an area to do some type of thematic
Good.
area.
Anything else? Okay.
Hope that was going the right way. Sorry, not used to the arrows.
Hi, I'm Emma Serdez. I'm part of the interior design team at SJCF. So to start out, this is just an overall plan showing the interior finishes in each space. So we can come back to this, but you can see the darker areas like the training room, the open office, conference room, and the admin offices will all be carpeted. Then epoxy floor will be in all of the lab areas. And then the concrete visual, the LVT, that will be in all of the corridors as well as the lobby, reception, and workrooms. And then the mechanical and like general storage spaces will be sealed concrete. So that's just kind of a brief overview, and then we'll go into more detail. Okay, so this kind of gives you a view of the LVT as well as the porcelain tile, the paint, and some millwork finishes. This is the overall interiors palette.
And that's what that is down there?
Yes, yes, correct. So, and then these labels kind of show the different designations for the materials. And I also have them on the table that I can wheel around. That might be helpful. Okay, so you can see the carpet that's on the floor here kind of ties into the blue that we used on the exterior, kind of bringing that color inside. And also it has kind of a navy blue and then also a lighter like Caribbean hue blue to it too. So it kind of has 2 blue tones in it. As well as the paint that is on the floor, I believe, that we're going to use in a couple locations to bring some more color to the interior. And then you can also see the LVT on the floor, as well as the wood door finishes, the Kiwani science cabinet finish, the quartz countertop that we're going to use in the restroom sinks for a more durable countertop finish. As well as the epoxy floor that should be on the table. That will be in all of the labs. And then the plastic laminate finishes that will be in the non-lab millwork areas. So that will be like mainly in the break room and in the workrooms where the like chemical resistant finish isn't necessary. And then this one also shows the tile, so the floor tile that's on the floor. I'm just gonna come over here. So this darker one is the floor tile in the restrooms, and the size of it will be 24 by 24 inches. And then the lighter one is the wall tile, and that will be 6 by 24 inches. And then on one wall behind the sinks, we have an area for some accent tile. So we're going to use this blue 4x4 tile to just accent the areas that it's behind the sink. I'll put that here. So I think that wraps up the interior finishes. Does anybody have questions?
So I think I see your big carpet swatch there, but is there something else? What is the big rectangle beyond the carpet? There you go, that. Oh,
Luxury vinyl tile. It's a layered composite material, and it has a printed layer, and then it has a 20 mil commercial wear layer on top. That's suitable for commercial applications. And the size is the 18 by 18, and then they just direct glue it to the subfloor.
and this little white sample in front of me here, that's the granite countertops for the kitchen, or with the sparkles?
Yes, this
No.
one or this
That
one.
one, yeah.
So this is the epoxy floor finish that will be in all of the labs. So it has
Oh.
flake to it, and then it has the like anti-slip urethane. right there.
That's great.
Yeah.
And the big black,
The big black oak,
That's the-
it's, this is for science rooms, and it's an epoxy resin countertop. Yeah.
that way it's not porous, right?
Correct.
Which one's the floor of the big lobby you see when you first walk in the front doors?
This
Yeah.
is the composite visual LVT.
Okay.
I can go back to that.
So the gray corridors are the LVT,
Correct, yeah.
and then the pattern is the carpet,
Yes.
and then what's the dark gray?
This
That's the carpet.
is the carpet.
Right.
And then,
The epoxy is,
the epoxy is this,
Right, okay.
the flake epoxy. And then sealed concrete, and then mechanical and storage rooms, and then we'll have the walk-off carpet tile in the vestibules.
So it's really like, I can't read a word that's up there, so just show me where those floor to ceiling, not floor to ceilings, but the windows that go all the way to the floor that we were just looking at that are under the overhang, I think we said
Top left.
training room. Where are those big windows on
Top
this
left.
plan? Top left.
So this is the large meeting room. So there's the two large banks of windows that are looking out to the south towards the plant process.
Okay.
And then this is basically the lobby reception area through here. So this is the large bank of windows looking out towards the front of the building with the glass vestibule here. Sorry.
Okay, so that training room with those two big windows is gonna be that darker carpet with blue bits in it.
Yes. Yeah. We thought that carpet was more appropriate, and it'll help with acoustics in that space too.
Yeah. Where are you putting this big navy blue one right there? What is that?
Oh, this is just showing like potential furniture finishes. We're not to that point yet, but it also just shows how it will add more color in the space, because we have largely like neutral finishes. So furniture will also add.
That's a nice pattern for
Yeah.
furniture. I like that, with a few accents of the navy blue. I think you've chosen really good blues. What other color could we possibly have?
That's what we thought as well.
pink brown since it's our water.
Oh!
You knew everyone was thinking that.
Ouch.
Well, I should ask this, I'm pretty sure that I heard that the blue that we selected, some of the blues, is based on the city of Wichita logo, the
Yeah.
river swath going underneath it, so.
Yeah.
Yep, you're correct, Ty.
Thanks, Ryan. I thought I was not making that up.
Good to go.
Anything else? Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
So you mentioned not being able to read would a little more of a tour?
Yeah,
What's in that
I was
building?
kind of expecting that, so.
You wanna get that?
That's fine. Yeah, we can do that.
Give them a little more of a tour of where we're at with the building layout.
Okay, so with building layout, we have three kind of distinct secure areas. In essence, the way we looked at this, you have your entrance off of Hoover. That is into more of a public space that goes down to here. So your training room, conference room, lobby area, men's and women's restrooms are all kind of located in secure tier 1, if you will. And then as you pass through doors here, then you're into the offices, break room, more kind of level 2 area with working staff. And then the third one, we provided doors there and there that secure off all this, which is your lab component. You've got your mechanical and data open offices for lab technicians, being a cubicle area. We've got a half glass wall here and all wrapping here to kind of help try to get some light, just distribute, be able to make it look a little more open throughout, while also being able to close off. All labs have kind of a high clear story style window so that they could work underneath and not be right visible to everything, but allow light inside. And then we've got your storage for lab, restrooms, shower, technician lockers, and then a mechanical room located here, as well as labs, and kind of a flow then between all labs.
Do you have a lactation room or a quiet room?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's located right here.
great. And do you have a family bathroom?
Those are
Yeah.
technically these back here. These are single user back here. We've done the public style here, and then the mothers.
You're putting baby changing in both the men's and the women's in the front?
Yeah.
So for the public, there's not a family bathroom? It's the
That's
men or
correct.
women?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was our understanding that it wouldn't be, it's still pretty much a secured building. Anybody let in would be guided in.
But like tour groups?
Tour
Is that what you
groups
mean?
could use, yeah.
I mean, secure,
Mainly
but the
for
front door's not
tour
locked.
groups, training, and various things like that. Functions that you might have would be for those.
And that meets the city's expectations for people who don't identify as the men's and women's. I mean, some of us use family bathrooms to the public so that they're just, it's a one-holer. We can call it family, but it's really a one-holer, so that people don't have to choose or get into squabbles about which one to go into. They always have that choice, but it looks like here they're not going to, as long as that meets your
So,
policy guidelines.
so we're thinking with the Riverfront and Ike, both of those have family bathrooms.
I think some of that is driven by the code, in terms of, you got, for assembly spaces, it's a certain point to reach the requirement to have family restrooms. But I don't believe that code would require it, not to say that the city may not prefer to have it, but just to clarify, I think that it would probably address the code requirements. Yeah.
I'm sure you have. I don't want to get further down the road if we haven't thought of it from that policy perspective. And I don't know if Wichita has a policy, but some of us are figuring out that it's harder to go back in and redo it. You'd rather do it up front if you don't want to have those kinds of, hey, you put up the wrong sign, or I have to make a choice I don't want to make, or staff have to enforce something they really don't want to enforce.
If you can't read it back there, I couldn't read it from here, so I didn't.
I can't read anything.
This says control, is this the fake control room or is it a real control room?
Both.
Both.
It-
And then this is designated, this is the mother,
That's
but
correct.
this is all open office
That's
space.
correct.
Okay. And then conference, storage, workroom, break room, and then, okay, so the control room is there for tour and public visibility.
So, yes, it's also a training room for staff, but yeah, for the visibility, as both design council and this body both, we got the window view in, and then we also into the bacteriology lab. There's a window in too.
But it will function as a backup control room.
Right.
So back to the restrooms, those three in the back, those are unisex?
Yes, these are both. And then this is more mainly just single user shower.
Okay. Well, that seems like less space than the bathrooms open to the public. Could those not be unisex as well?
Sorry, what?
So those are behind that, you think you said tier 3, so those are
Yes.
like unisex bathrooms. But the ones open to the public in the tier 1 space, that's more space than those, so could those not be unisex bathrooms as well?
In here?
Yeah.
Turning these into? Well, we do have to meet a minimum requirement for number of fixtures based on this training room. More than throughout the whole facility we do, but those are mainly governed by the training room. It's going to be your highest occupancy. And so we have to meet a certain amount of fixtures for that. And then the overall facility, we have these fixtures and every fixture that's located in there to meet that.
Well, I didn't mean to throw a monkey wrench in anything, but if the city officials haven't had this discussion, probably not in this room today, but that might be a consideration, in which case you might just want to think about how you would divide up the public area out front to add a family bathroom, whether that's taking space away from the size of the current 2 bathrooms or from something else. I think there at least ought to be a discussion, if there hasn't been yet, on whether it's just easier to do that.
No, it's an important policy question. I thank you for bringing it up because we have placed them in our other facilities that we've built recently.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. Again, they're much larger footprints than this and much more public because an airport and a baseball stadium as opposed to this, but
I think generally the public has one attitude when it's an old building. People weren't thinking
Right.
about that back then, but when it's a new building, you kind of think, well, why weren't you thinking about me?
yeah, I mean, if you're going to go to the expense of putting in a mother's room, it should be available to everyone and not just the people that are working there. That's the way I kind of feel about it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the lactation piece is, that's a great point. I think the law is more about the staff who work there every day, so you can employ people who need to pump milk every couple hours or whatever. But for the public, if you're doing tours and that type of thing, maybe that
or
doesn't
training.
apply.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't make that be the bathroom, the family bathroom. You can't be one and the same.
That was going to be my question.
But I
Can it-
see what you're saying. If it's training, I'm thinking a public demonstration tour, but you're thinking employee training.
But can that be a lactation and a family bathroom? No. An architect over there shaking his head that that can't be.
I don't think they typically want to have the toilet fixture in the same room.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's
For
plenty.
sanitary purposes.
So it's kind of 2 issues, but if the staff in the training room cannot access the lactation room, which maybe they can, I don't know.
A lot of it depends on the ability to get, they would have to be directed to the security entrance to get to it.
Yeah, right now, the nursing is, it's just set up for employees. It's not set up for everybody in the public.
Yeah, and that's, you're gonna train people in this room who are staff,
But it could also,
who could get back there to the lactation room.
But
Yeah,
it
but if
could
you're there
also-
for a tour, the whole tour is probably 2 hours, and you wouldn't expect that kind of service. I think the
But you
front
could use
part's
it for
about the
other-
bathroom.
you could use it for other community meetings too, like a district
Well-
advisory board can meet there, or neighborhoods.
Yeah.
HOAs. I mean, it depends on what we want to make it, available for.
And that makes a great argument for the restroom. But the lactation room, I don't think many people are gonna go to a 1 or 2 hour long public meeting and expect to have that kind of service. It's the staff who work there for 8 hours who need the lactation room.
So we'll definitely give the team a look at the bathroom issue, the restroom issue. That would work on a little bit.
So it looks like the storage room and the conference room are about the same size.
Yeah, this storage room up here is designed big enough of tables, for table chair storage, training.
And that's also windows to the outside there?
No, that does not have the windows. That is, this is the solid blue.
Okay.
Blue panel wall area.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
My mistake.
This storage is actually with a window, is is designed to be an expanded office.
What's about the rough size of the lobby area now?
So we're at give or take, I think we're a little less than 14,000 square feet still. So I believe this area was around 7, so we're talking maybe 3,000 square foot.
For just the lobby area?
Well, no, just the lobby area.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and double check, but off the top of my head, I'm not really sure. I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it's about 35 by 17.
Yeah.
I was looking that up for somebody else. Or I was looking it up for that the RFP. I know what I was looking
600, 700.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I mean, it's good to have a big lobby because, not that you want a bunch of furniture in it, but for kiddos or people touring and having a little time to, as they take turns going to the bathroom or get dry from the rain or whatever. That seems like a good sized space. What is that one rectangle polygon? Is it say conference room maybe, right below the lobby?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
This
so
is
you've
the
got 2
main
rooms.
conference room, yeah.
Yeah.
10-12-person conference room.
What is to the right of the control room? The big polygon, yeah.
This is
Yes.
open offices. A room with 8, I believe, 7 or 8 cubicle desks in there for lab technicians. As well as a small little work area, if you will, right here, that they could have, marker board or something, and some chairs and tables. Act as a small conference area for.
So in terms of a tour group or something, you're bringing them into the training room, telling them stuff, and then they're walking somewhere? Is that clear on where they're going from there, back out the front door? Or,
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the expectation is on tours, but anything beyond this building, we've got several safety and security issues. So we've pretty much limited things to right here.
so you're using the training room and the lobby essentially for any tour groups that come in, say it be, people in other cities that are learning how to be water people or some class of kids or whatever. Whatever displays you're setting up to show them the whole plant is in that room. Okay, I got you.
Between that and the control room.
Yeah.
Where you can look in, and then the windows to look into the labs.
So you're literally going to
Yeah.
be taking them through the training room, control room, lobby. See, I'm thinking foot traffic of
Right.
where they're going from there. They're not going down in the hallways, past the bathroom doors, but they're going around that little conference room to the control room. And they're seeing whatever displays you have up in the lobby or the training room. So maybe you'll have something artistic in the lobby, but maybe you'll have something educational too.
Trying to make it thematic, or that's what we're going to try to work with the artists to make something like that. And then a lot of it, virtual. Everybody get used to the screen.
You mean, like you might have video boards up to show different things instead of having multiple static displays, you'll have a couple of video boards and show them things while they're there. That way you can change the displays over time. Easier then. Great. It sounds like a great plan.
So as far as what you've heard on the colors and the textures or whatever, everything sounds okay then? I mean, not trying to push, but I'm just trying to make sure where we're at.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with any of the colors. They look good to me. I like the materials.
I think the other element you guys have is to tie it in with all the other buildings on the site.
That's correct, and I will, I think I'm going the wrong way, yep. Ryan, I will see if I can figure out how to give you control of this. So Ryan and Ayla will be, with Burns and McDonald, will be talking through the rest of this. I don't know actually how to give control.
I just requested it.
Oh, there you
You might
go.
see it pop up.
There we are. And I believe it go, yes, Ryan now
There we
has
go.
control.
I wouldn't know how should I advance the slides.
Well, if you can't do that, let me know and I'll just do that for you.
Okay. So this is the balance of the site. The game plan has been this is the admin building that you just got the tour of, and it would have the color that is incorporated in the logo, and then blue's an easy one with a water treatment plant. You'll see an aqua colored blue on these basins. So the architectural term for that is form follows function. This is the balance of the plant. And in the middle of it, it's about the size of a football field. It's the filter building. We've got it back here. We've got a mix of concrete structures, these, and we've got precast buildings, concrete precast buildings. This is one, and then we've got pre-engineered metal buildings. So back here, we just want this to be durable and to do its job. And so our main color, maybe next slide, Chad, if you can. The precast buildings are going to be the color of concrete. It'll be a lightish gray. The roofs are a membrane roof, so they'll be white like you see there.
Ryan,
Yes, sir.
I don't have control to be able to flip the slides
All right,
actually.
I'm gonna stop control.
Well, I don't know why it's not.
You can't just click on it and it'll advance? I assume that's what you tried, but I had to ask.
There we go.
There you go. So this is from Zoo Boulevard. This railroad, it has its own little berm to it. I believe there's existing trees and there will be some new trees. This is maybe that aqua colored coating that I was talking about on the troughs of the basins. And then here you can see the light concrete color on the filter building over to the right. Yeah. And then that white membrane roof. And so then What we want to do, we want to hide the, we're across the street from the zoo. We want to hide this thing in plain sight. And so we've got some of those fixed colors of, concrete basins are going to be concrete. The precast is going to be concrete. So with the metal buildings, we want to continue with the gray thing, but the idea is to contrast it with the dark gray insulated metal panels and a light gray metal standing seam metal roof panel. At the very end, we'll show you another option where it's all just light gray, and I think you'll find that it might begin to be too monotonous or something. So subtle contrast there with the metal panels, and really it's a 2.5-inch insulated metal panel. So pre-engineered metal buildings maybe have a certain connotation to them, but we use them in this industrial architecture a lot, and it actually is a really it's got a finished side on the inside and on the outside, and you got high performing rigid insulation in the middle of it. So people laugh at me when I say it, but they're really like putting in Yeti coolers over this stuff. And at a water treatment plant, when you pop pipe up out of the ground, that's what you want. So these pre-engineered metal buildings will act like Yeti coolers over this exposed piping. And with the Texas thing that we just all saw in February, I mean, that's what we want more so than any color or anything like that. Can you advance next slide? So this is the maintenance building. Go back one, Chad, real fast. I'll show where this is. So it's the next closest one. It's, right over there. It's not really that close to the admin building, but it is the next closest one to it. And then go ahead. Ty wanted me to add a picture of the maintenance building. It is, so the inside of it will have the finishes that Emma just showed you of the admin building, but the outside, it's back here in the back of the plant. So the outside will look like the rest of the plant buildings, dark gray wall panels and light gray roof panels. But it will have the carpet that Emma showed you and the countertop. In this image, the smaller right-hand portion is the admin section. And then the taller one on the left, that's almost an open shop with multiple overhead doors. So that's the maintenance building. Next slide. Another image elevated from Zoo Boulevard. So there you'll even see it. Far on the left is the admin building, and you can see some of Chad's blue over there, and we're hoping that then you start to see glimpses of some blue just based off of the water treatment process. And really what you want in architecture as well is you kind of want the front door to be obvious. So you saw in Chad's presentation, hopefully with the color and the wood and that, people know where to go, and that this just kind of fades to the background back here. Next slide, I think, is from the very back of the plant. So in the back there, you'll see the football field size filter building, precast concrete again, white membrane roofing, and then these are on the left side. That's a pre-engineered metal building, and the two right in front of you, pre-engineered metal building, dark gray walls, light gray roof, and then there's a precast building over on the right. It's kind of in the shadow, but it would be a light gray. So you can see it's subtle, but the dark gray contrasts with the light gray. The next image you're gonna see is when we take these pre-engineered metal buildings from the darker gray and we make everything light gray and white roofs to match. And I was trying to come up with some of the right words. Monotonous is the one. Some of them I don't feel comfortable saying, but it
Cheap.
well, yeah,
It
I want to
looks
use the
cheaper.
word prison or barracks or something, but I don't think that's appropriate. But it's really in the minor details here. I mean, it's a treatment plant. It's a hard working place. But that's where, I guess that's where we just where we try to do our job with just that subtle color change. You can bring a little bit of contrast, and the people that work here every day, buildings differentiates themselves that way. I think that is our last slide. Yes. Any questions? Maybe go back to one of the overalls. There you go.
I guess I'll jump in. I have a 3:30 I have to get to here in a second, but so I like the version with the contrast better, but when you look at the color of the troughs versus everything else, I think that there could be more color in the rest of the buildings. I mean, that blue could accent more, I think, of the other buildings. I see the light and dark contrast with the filter building, but there could be more blue there. One of the things, and my colleague brought it up earlier with the artists, but one of the reasons for the 2% and what we were hearing from the artist community is they wanted to see more. They didn't want to have buildings that just have slight color contrast. They wanted to see more. I'm not saying, make it all 4 or 5 different colors, but I mean, I think we could add a little more to it and make it stand out. It's a brand new facility, our biggest investment as a city that we've made. And there's light blue and then there's gray and dark gray. And I just think we could do more to make it more appealing.
Yeah, I think my colleague said it very well. Most people are never going to get this view, so they'll never see the blue in the clarifiers, right? I mean, we get it, we see it now, but once the clarifiers are full, are you going to see the blue even? No. So, and again, I appreciate the contrast of colors, but I think you're right. I think it needs a little more pizzazz, flair, whatever you want to call it, but maybe another accent color to help give it. And again, I'm not the designer, but that's where I think the design council and the artist community might be able to help us with that. It needs to look first rate, and this does, but I think we need to give the impression to the public that it's not a compound, it's something that we've invested in for you, and we take pride in it, so.
Hey, Ryan, this is Alan King. If I could pitch in here for just a second, kind of pick it up on the comments that were just made. Are we talking about something significant in terms of effort or cost to put some kind of an accent on the buildings? I don't know your guys' business like you do, but like a stripe, maybe a water logo on some of the buildings to kind of break it up a little bit. Am I picking up on the right kind of?
That's a possibility. Spirit out there in Wichita, they use a lot of pre-engineered metal buildings, and their thing is white pre-engineered metal buildings with a certain colored, the Spirit blue band around them. So that's a possibility. You could make the doors blue. This filter building has louvers. We could do that too. The thing is that I think so. This is from like drone height.
It's a water.
So the trees and everything are going. I mean, the idea is that most of this plant's can be hidden behind trees.
I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking before in our meetings, we've talked a little bit about a mural on the side of something. So I'm guessing you went away from that because it wouldn't be viewable
Right.
by people going
Some of
by
it
on
will
the
be.
street.
Some of it can be.
Okay.
Because the size of those tanks are pretty good. They're pretty tall.
Yeah, how tall are those? To the right, they're the
That-
all white.
30 foot.
The ground storage tanks, those would be. Those are the clarifiers.
Yeah,
No,
further
to the right.
Chad,
There
the
you
ground
go.
storage tanks are about 30 foot above grade.
Well, I mean, you have 2 views too, so you've got what would be visible from the street, but then also from the admin building.
Yeah.
If you're just looking out at
Yeah,
gray.
yeah, maybe you could think about not a detailed mural, but something like water waves or something that's blue.
So I was picking up on the wave of our
That's-
logo,
Yeah,
the blue
Yeah.
stripe that's underneath the W. It wouldn't have to be a completely horizontal stripe, but it could be a wave stripe that went on all the buildings. And that might be enough. Maybe not on all the buildings. This building's a significant size, but
see what you can see from the admin building
Yeah.
lobby area
anyway.
or training room area. What do you see when you look out that window of the training room or the lobby?
You see the clarifiers and
So the filter building could have
Yeah.
that wave around it where the contrast is at.
Chad, what are those little things in front of, or we'll say below on this picture, those 6 clarifiers? What are those?
That's headworks area, that's
Yeah.
some aerator towers, a big splitter structure. I mean, yeah, big concrete structures. Yeah.
Big gray, solid
So-
color.
We got a lot of that.
Yeah.
The football field building, right? That
Filter
one.
building, yeah.
So you could see the walls of that from the admin building, sort of? The wall of it between, if you were, well, maybe not.
I don't think so.
Probably not. The headworks would be in the way. I was just gonna say, if you picked something like that wall and made it blue instead of gray, or, I mean, it couldn't be just a minor stripe because it's too far away, but if the whole thing were blue, I don't know. I don't know how much you guys have thought of this already, but,
And the only thing with that is you can paint, you know, the exterior, it's a precast concrete, is the filter building. The paint would then become a maintenance item
Yeah.
on that concrete structure.
okay. I got another idea. This one I don't know what he's saying, so I'm just gonna point. So your artist, who's gonna look at the lobby and the exterior, what about this? Because if you're here and you're looking that way, what do you see? You see this, right? So maybe the artist would come up with something that would be very visible, but wouldn't actually be on a building, it would be a freestanding.
It would just be behind the security fence, so if anybody wanted to get an up-close look at it, they wouldn't be able to. Correct?
I
That's
hear you.
behind.
It'd have to
yeah.
be of some bulk, yeah,
Yeah,
to be viewable from that
Right.
far away and not entice people to go right up to it, right?
yeah. No interactive art, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Bill, that's something to think about because SJCF has done such a good job with that front corner of the admin building. If an artist just came and put something in the green space in front of that building, it'd kind of be doubling up stuff. Maybe we can get the artists to sort of sprinkle their art more throughout
Just
the plant.
thinking-
So that might be an option. If the idea is to kind of break up the monotony with colors, what I was wondering, so we've got these small, this is a small electrical building, this is a small pump station building. If we started using the metal on those with, you know, a blue color or whatever, I mean, if that's the idea, kind of breaking it up, at least there's a little bit of breaking up those colors, right? That,
On small
those solids
buildings.
pumps are, those are PMBs too, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are.
So, I mean, that, we could break that up with some of those blues, and then if we wanted to use the blue walls back here, that kind of breaks up the view as you're coming up Zoo Boulevard. The only concern I have, and I want to just make sure, is, you know, the maintenance, if we start incorporating
Right.
painted things on there.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if our recommendation is to make the entire buildings one color, but have some element of access, or, not access, accent
Accent colors.
to set it off from just being gray, even though we have contrasting grays, maybe just a little bit more of a pop.
And
So,
maybe we could look at something that's a little bit more sophisticated than a band, maybe some sort of, yeah, like an accent wall or an accent portion where you're just changing the color of the metal panel or something like that.
So the thing that I think of, I guess, too, though, is that pre-engineered metal buildings come in preset colors, right? They've got whatever, a dozen different colors or something like that. If it's not exactly the same as the blue in the logo and on the admin building, is that?
well, again, I defer to our design council and our artist to let them really have a better sense of this. I mean, has the design council even considered any of the other buildings and how the contrasts and how this is played out? No. Yeah. So I think I'd rather defer to the experts and
Fair.
let them weigh in.
And I'm glad you guys brought it up. and I would defer as well, but I guess I would lean toward, if you can't see those buildings in the back, then don't spend a lot of
Right.
extra customizing the metal panel that's just a maintenance issue later. Spend the money on the art up close to the admin building, that people can actually see it, you know, and just leave the basic industrial buildings to the industrial area in the back. And I mean, obviously, if you can get something in blue, great, but if it's a custom order that raises the price, the artist would probably be happier if you spent the money on the art, you know, where people can actually see it, right? But I think it was made a good point, though, is how much can a driver see from the very, I'll say north, because it's the top of this map, but what would that be, east? When you're driving around Zoo Boulevard, what can you actually see in there? And if you can't see much, then obviously you could see a blue building, if it was all blue, better than a gray building, or maybe have an impression. But if it's not even a blink of the eye, you'd much rather have something in bulk, a bulkier piece of something blue closer to the admin building where people can see it as they drive in and drive out.
Yeah, and that's kind of been our thought process throughout this.
Could you, I know we're short on time, I don't know if you have more that you want to cover today or not, but just a brief little update on the timing of how's it going so far, and when do where are we at? Are we on schedule?
Overall project? Yeah, it's pretty much on schedule, or maybe a little bit ahead, kind of depending on different parts. The construction's a little bit ahead of where we expected to be. Design's pretty much right where we expected it to be. Yeah, it's all coming together as planned. We got this artist RFP we're coming out with. We've got some other things coming up. We've got our agreement finalized with City Council and Evergy. So we're moving forward with that. Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
That's all you guys had? That's all we had. That's all we had, unless you have any other questions or any other comments.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
Thank you all for your comments.
Yes, nice work. Thank you.
Good feedback.